Hey guys, welcome back to Hope, Heal, and Shine. Okay, so today is one of my absolute favorite stories from the Book of Mormon. We are studying about the Strippling Warriors.
Now they never had fought, yet they did not fear death, and they did think more upon the liberty of their fathers than they did upon their lives. Yea, they had been taught by their mothers that if they did not doubt, God would deliver them. Alma 56:47. And the rest of this week's scriptures are
Alma 53 through 63. This story, if you remember from a few weeks ago, we talked about the anti-Nephi Lehis who buried their weapons of war because they were people who used to go out and just kill for fun. And because they repented and changed their ways, they buried all of their weapons to never take life again, even if that meant sacrificing their own life to do that. And now we come to a point where there is just so much war in the land, and they've kind of relied on others to keep them safe, and they don't feel like they can do that anymore. So out of compassion, they are tempted to break their covenant, dig up their weapons of war, and go and help preserve their freedoms. And I feel like, really, part of you might think oh, well, no one could blame them for doing that, and maybe not. But what's really cool is that their sons did not want them to break this covenant, and they went to war instead. Now, how stupid does that sound? Their parents, their fathers were people who went and were good at killing. They loved doing it, and yet they were concerned for their souls more than their physical life, so much that their sons, who had not ever been around weapons and literally knew nothing about war, decided to go and take their spot in war. And 2,000 of these young men went to war instead. And the really cool thing is not one of them died. Not one of them. They were all injured. Every one of them was injured, but not one of them died. And that was so cool. I love that story. It's one of my absolute favorites in the whole Book of Mormon. So check out the scriptures and you're going to love the story too. Okay, but the part of this lesson that I really want to get into this week is a part where Captain Moroni, as we've talked about him, he's pretty awesome. He writes a letter to Pahoran in anger, accusing Pahoran of withholding assistance from them. And then he gets his response, and instead of being offended, he just kind of clarifies what their situation was. And what I love about this is that he could have easily been offended, because Moroni, in the heat of the moment and speaking out of anger and fearing for the lives of all these people who have followed him into war, he writes this impassioned epistle, right, to try to get more assistance and to basically condemn this person who hasn't helped them, saying that he's going to be damned, basically, for leaving them to suffer this awful fate while they're sitting in comfort. But that turns out not to be the case. But anyway, Moroni is making these big assumptions that turn out to be false, which I think we can kind of take comfort that even the best of us sometimes are going to say things that turn out to be false, or that we might end up regretting sometimes when they're driven by emotions, especially fear. And here's one of the things I feel like I've really been seeing during this pandemic, so why this feels so applicable right now, is that so many people are speaking out of their fear disguised as love. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely know these people do love the people they're defending, and it's coming from a good place. But at the same time, when we are speaking just out of our fear, we are not our best selves. So I'm going to give an example of this from my own life. So a couple years ago, I remember one post in particular. I mean, I'm sure I've had many offensive things that I've written on the internet, but I remember this one time when I was really speaking out of fear. And at the time, I would have told you I was speaking out of love and concern for my children. And then that was there. That was definitely there. I will always have love and concern for my children, and the things I believe are going to be based off of that. But when I wrote this post, it really was just fear-based. It wasn't very rational. It was definitely not kind. And looking back on it, I can say that my opinion on the topic has not changed. But the way I would handle it now is 100% different. That the way I would handle disagreeing with somebody now, I would hope would be a lot more mature and a lot kinder. That I feel like I've learned over the years that way of approaching things just, it literally never helps. Shaming someone into changing, belittling people, calling them names, accusing them, making assumptions about their own parenting or their intelligence or anything else, it's just never helpful. All you're doing is isolating somebody else. You're shutting yourself off from listening to their opinion. You're shutting them off from listening to your opinion. And communication just stops instantly. When you are out to attack and be aggressive and offensive, whether it's in the name of love or not. If you are, like, most often, it is just fear disguised as love. And it just doesn't help the situation, ever. I am sure I changed absolutely no one's opinion that day. But what I did do is offend a lot of people, had a lot of friends delete me. Looking back, I did have one friend whose opinion was different than mine. And instead of getting offended, she took the time to explain to me why she believed the way she believed. And it was very eye-opening because I had not heard the argument and the opinion that she had stated. And when she took the time to not be offended, but to help me see things from her point of view, it really started opening up my mind, not just to that one topic. Because again, like, my opinion hasn't changed, but I can step back and I can respect her for having a different opinion. I can respect her in spite of our differences. Whereas going into that argument, I was literally just calling people who had her opinion ignorant and selfish. And now I want to take those things back because I don't believe them anymore. I believe that people can be in a different place in their life and have different opinions. And that doesn't mean that because they disagree with me that they're a bad person, or that they're stupid, or they're selfish, or they hate their children, or they hate my children, or they hate anybody. It doesn't mean that. But we see the world from our perspective, right? We've talked about that in other videos. We only see the world from our perspective. And so it's easy sometimes to see somebody's action and label it a certain way, because maybe if we did that action, that is what it would mean. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's how it is for somebody else. So I was really appreciative of this friend taking the time to talk to me kindly, because really she probably had every right to start yelling at me like everybody else did who agreed with her. And yet nobody else changed my mind because I just got defensive and they got defensive and it just got ugly and everyone deleted each other and it became a mess. But this person I'm still friends with on Facebook, and since then I've just had this really high amount of respect for her, that she would go into this battle basically and just calmly state her opinion and really help me see something else on it. And I feel like I've tried to take that point of view into consideration on many other topics over the last 5 years. And really, I've just been really appreciative of that person helping me mature, helping me grow up and kind of get over my own opinions and help me be more open-minded and more understanding and more compassionate towards other people. So anyway, this is the story from my life that I was most reminded of this, that, you know, it makes me feel a little better, I guess. You know, even Moroni makes mistakes, and as much as I want to look back and be like, oh, I'm so embarrassed that I would have said those things and been so hurtful, that we're all human and we can say sorry. We can say sorry, and sometimes we need to. So that's, I guess, part of the lesson is that if you're the one that's offending, try to step up and say sorry. I know it's hard and it's kind of embarrassing to do that, but you know, sometimes it's necessary. And even more than that, I think we will all encounter times in our life when somebody offends us. And it might be somebody at church, or it might be just somebody on the internet. Oh, okay, scratch that. I guarantee somebody on the internet's going to offend you because that's what the internet's made for, right? But But if we can do our best to, instead of taking offense, try to calmly explain our side, it really can help other people to grow and change, like my friend did for me. That, doing what Pahoran did, and we have the choice. We have the choice, and by not becoming offended, we maintain our power. When we so quickly get defensive and angry, like, we give away our power. Pahoran chose not to be offended, and that is the goal that I am trying to do this week. Is a hard one. But my other challenge to myself, at least, is to do my best to not be offensive and to apologize when I realize I've been in the wrong. So those are my, 3 challenges. Don't be offensive, apologize, and don't take offense. Those are my challenges for the week. So be Pahoran. Calling other people names and assuming the worst about others is not always accurate. So that's my challenge, is some self-reflection. That's what I've had to do with this lesson this week. So but mostly I just if that friend is watching, thank you, and I hope you know that I am sorry for those things I said, that I am a person who has been trying to change, and you have helped me do that over the last few years. So thank you very much, and hopefully sometime in the future I can be as wise and compassionate towards somebody else as you were to me. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for tuning in this week. Again, one of my favorite stories of all time in the scriptures. So make sure you check it out. Make sure you like this video and subscribe and share it with your friends if you'd like. But anyway, I will be back again in a few days. Thanks for watching. Bye.